Hey guys, it's Mrs. Philhauer here. Sorry I can't be there in class today with you, but hopefully this video will help show you today's lesson and will give you some really good examples, so make sure you're writing these down in your notes. Today's lesson is about finding the percent increase or decrease between two prices or two amounts, and another way you'll hear it referred to is percent change. So percent increase or decrease and percent change, those mean the same things. So if the amount goes up from the first to the second amount, that is a percent increase. So like if you're talking about having $8 going up to $10, that's obviously an increase. If the amount is going down, that would be a decrease. So if we're talking about 20 students and now we are down to 11 students, that amount is decreasing. So that would be a percent decrease. Okay, so you'll always have to tell if it's an increase or a decrease, but that's just, is the amount going up or is it going down? To find the percent of increase or decrease, it's a pretty simple way. The first thing you're going to do is subtract the two amounts, and you're always going to do the bigger number minus the smaller number. Then you're going to take that number that you get after you subtract them and divide that by the original amount. So that's the first amount, what it was to begin with. It's not always the bigger number, it's not always the smaller number, it's whichever one happened first. So then you're going to get a decimal after you divide those. So turn a decimal into a percent. You move the decimal point 2 times to the right. That's all you have to do. I'm going to show you 3 examples and then have you try a couple on your own. So the first example, you're working at Jack's Donuts. That's like my favorite place. And you're making $8 an hour. You make such delicious donuts that your boss decides to pay you $9 an hour now. By what percent did your pay change? So this is pretty common in hourly jobs, getting a raise. It doesn't seem like it's a big jump from $8 an hour to $9 an hour, but that's a pretty sizable amount. So we're going to find by what percent your salary just changed. The first thing we're going to do is subtract those amounts. So it's always the bigger minus the smaller. So the bigger amount was $9. And we're going to subtract $8, and we're going to divide that by the original amount. How much were you making first? And that was $8. So this is how you would set up the problem. This is the first step that I would expect to see. And now we're just going to simplify this. So on the top we can simplify 9 minus 8. That is obviously 1. So now we have the fraction 1 over 8. We're going to divide that, and you would get 0.125. Remember, that's just a decimal. We want a percent. So we're going to move that decimal 2 places to the right. So it would be between the 2 and the 5. So that would make this a 12.5%, and this would be an increase since it went from $8 an hour to $9. It's getting bigger. It's an increase. So 12.5% increase in your pay. That's pretty good. Let's try another one. Second example. You have an Xbox that's marked down from $3.99 to $3.49. Find the percent of change. So we're going to use the same formula. We are going to subtract bigger minus smaller. So bigger is $3.99. Subtract $3.49. And we're going to put it over the original amount. So the original amount, the amount it was first, was $3.99. Now we're just simplifying. $3.99 minus $3.49 is a difference of $50 divided by $3.99. Yes, you can use a calculator to find this. So let's divide 50 divided by $3.99. And that comes out to 0.1253, and it keeps on going, but we can stop there. So again, this is pretty similar to the last one. So we're going to take that decimal point, move it twice to the right. So this would become 12.53%. Do you think it would be an increase or a decrease? If you said decrease, you are correct. Because it started at $3.99 and it went lower to $3.49, that would be a decrease. Okay, one more example. Mrs. Philhauer had 175 pieces of candy on Monday. It's pretty common that I pick up some candy at the grocery store on Sundays, so I stock up for you guys. By Friday, she only had 13 pieces of candy left. By what percent did the amount of candy change? So, we're going to start by subtracting bigger minus smaller. 175 minus 13, and we're going to divide that by the original amount. So first, on Monday, I had 175 pieces. Okay, simplifying on the top, 175 minus 13 would be 162 over 175. Punch that in my calculator. 162 divided by 175 is 0.9257, and it keeps going. So again, I'm going to move this decimal 2 places to the right. So that would make this a 92 point, if we wanted to round it, we could say 0.6, because that 7 is going to make the 5 go up to a 6. 92.6%, would that be an increase or a decrease? That would be a big decrease, going from 175 pieces to 13. Alright, I want you to try this one on your own. Go ahead and read the problem and pause the video. And then after you've solved it, press play and check your answer. Okay, last week gas was $2.29 per gallon. This week it's only $2.05 per gallon. Find the percent of change. So we're going to start by subtracting bigger minus smaller. 2.29 minus 2.05 divided by the original amount, the first amount, 229. When I subtract those amounts, I got a difference of 0.24 over 2.29. And when I divided those, I got 0.1048, and it keeps going. So when I move my decimal point twice over, I get 10.48%. And since the amount went down, that's a decrease. Alright, I want you to try one more. Mrs. Philhauer wants an Apple Watch. This is true. I've been looking for an Apple Watch for a long time. Right now, it's on sale for $249. It's a little pricey. Next week, it will be back to the regular price of $299. What will be the percent of change? So what percent more am I going to have to pay next week if I wait to buy it? So go ahead and pause the video, work this out, and then come back and hit play, and I will tell you if you're right or not. Alright, the first thing you should have done is to subtract $299 minus $249. This time you should have divided by $249 because that's the price that it is first. Okay, that's a difference of $50 out of $249. So 50 divided by 249, I got 0.201 if I round it. And then moving that decimal twice to the right, it would be 20.1%. This time it's an increase. Since it's only $249 now, it's going to be $299 later. That's going up, so it would be 20% more if I waited until next week. If you guys find a good deal on an Apple Watch, let me know. Alright, hopefully this has been some good examples for you and you feel really comfortable with percent change. If not, look on YouTube, there's tons of videos, and ask me if you have any questions. For the rest of the period, be sure to be nice to your substitute teacher, okay? Remember, there will be prizes if no one's name gets written down in the whole class. I will bring treats on Friday. If anyone's name gets written down, I will have to see you myself on Friday, and that won't be fun. Alright, email me if you have any questions. Talk to your neighbor, and I will see you tomorrow.